Hey, what's going on? It's a series making music analysis simple. Today we're looking at why the outro of As It Was by Harry Styles is stranger than it seems. As It Was reflects on the passing of time and on how we and the world around us can change. The opening riff nostalgically channels the 80s hit Take On Me by a-ha, which we'll return to later. Almost all of the song uses the same 4-chord loop: D major, B minor, E major, A major. But this doesn't really suit the melody of the chorus. While D major is playing, we hear a motif using the notes E and B, neither of which are in that chord. This motif is repeated for the next chord, B minor, which does contain a B, but still no E. The melody then moves on to a variation of the motif that rests on A over an E major chord. A is a fourth above the bass line, causing an ugly semitone clash with the third of the E major chord. Then a final descending idea emphasizes D, a fourth that clashes with the third of the A major chord. In the outro, the loop now begins with B minor, so each part of the melody is matched with a different chord. It's really weird to rotate a progression like this, as it completely changes how we interpret the tune. We do still hear the motif over a B minor chord, which we know contains a B but no E, but then the repetition of the motif is now over E major, which does contain both notes B and E. Next, the variation rests on A over A major, which sounds much more satisfying than before, and the descending idea emphasizes D over a D major chord, which again seems more sensible. Given how well this rotated progression works, maybe it's the earlier choruses that are strange. Perhaps the chorus was originally written using the outro progression, which fits neatly. Then maybe the chords were inadvertently shuffled along while writing the verses and the bridge. At that point, it became necessary to use that awkward progression for the earlier choruses as well. This is because shuffling the chords once after the bridge is fine, but doing it several times would soon get annoying. To explain how the chords could be shifted by mistake, we can use the YouTube channel 12 Tones 4-chord loop model. If the root note of two chords are either 1 or 5 steps apart, like the notes connected by lines in this diagram, this is strong harmonic motion. If a chord ends a run of strong motion, like D major in As It Was, this is called a destination chord. Destination bias means we tend to hear a destination chord as the tonic chord, which feels like home. As the tonic is the center of a song's gravity, we also often expect it to be the first chord in a loop. The tonic chord of As It Was is actually A major, but if we just loop the chords, it's possible to hear D major as tonic instead. Destination bias may have led the writers to treat D major as the first chord in the loop as well. So why might the original loop have started with B minor? That's where Take On Me comes in. If we compare the guitar riff on As It Was to Take On Me's classic synth line, the rhythm is almost identical. It's not impossible that the writers used the song as a guide track, jamming over it to find new ideas. After all, the tempo for the two songs is incredibly similar, roughly 85 beats per minute versus 87. And importantly, the synth line of Take On Me uses nearly the same loop as the outro in As It Was. There are two differences. First, Take On Me is more energetic and changes chords twice as often. And second, it ends with an extra inverted A major chord, which helps to keep the loop flowing. That means the D major chord is no longer a destination, so it's less likely to disorientate the listener. Before we wrap up, help the channel out by taking a second to like and subscribe. It's easy to imagine Take On Me being used by Harry and co. as the basis for writing As It Was. Aiming for a melancholic vibe, they may have slowed the harmonic rhythm and cut the last chord. They may have then accidentally rotated the loop from creating the chorus to the other sections. Of course, this is all speculation, but either way, it's an interesting reminder of how theory can cause headaches for even the most high-profile musicians. Look out for the Apocopop song review of As It Was, and let us all know what song you'd like to see analysed next. Or try the analysis of Cuff It by Beyoncé, which looks at why the final transition of that song is so special. And for early access, consider supporting the channel on Patreon. See you next time.